Welcome, Tulip Suman. Let me introduce you first. She is one of the younger generation of Indians who was born after 1991. You could describe her as aspirational, ambitious, driven in many other ways. Essentially, what she looks at is a future where India and people like her have a better place to live in, which is possibly more prosperous and maybe more equitable. So, welcome, Tulip. And she also, by the way, is a master's in law. She's pursuing a PhD and she has a very, very keen interest in contemporary issues. Am I right, Tulip, in describing you?
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome and such a nice description of what I have done till now in life, sir. And of course, I do take interest in the current event. And currently, right now, I'm doing my PhD in law. So that's the research area that I'm working in is related to copyright.
True. So, as a young Indian Tulip, since you are very keen on following current affairs, uh, do you think there is something wrong with the way the media is operating nowadays?
Well, sir, what I have observed with relation to media, both the national media and the vernacular media, I'm not adapt with other places, but in Odisha, where I live currently, so there I have observed something that the media being a very strong and very it's the reach that it has in people is good, and it's not confined anymore to the traditional sort of media. So now people are dependent more on social media. They're being driven by what is being becoming viral and all that. So what I have observed really is that people are more, the media houses especially, they are more inclined to become adapt to one party or one kind of thought process, which is not actually going to help us in building a good sense of the things which are happening worldwide or in our national level or at state level, because then it will be more about what is more beneficial for the people who are in power. And media is supposed to check the power balance. It's check and balance kind of system which should be there, and that is not actually functioning very pretty well, I would say. So there are some things which I have seen in both in state media and national media, and uh, the problem is that if we have a sort of what a kind of if we depend on research, like the research that we are doing right now, if I am doing research, I have to show some statistics or some data to back up what I'm claiming. In law, even we need to have some evidence to back up what we are claiming. So, in the similar manner, media should also have some kind of data. They should depend on data. They should provide more data-based researches while they're reporting, so that the narrative should be justified. It could be justified when they are doing it.
So, Tulip, why do you think Indian media and Indian journalists are so shy of using data? Is it a generic problem or?
Sir, I would not say that it's a generic problem. uh, what happens is I believe that when they want to, because I think that they just decide upon the narratives that they want to push, and because they want to push those narratives, they depend upon those particular kind of data which would benefit their narrative. So to counter that, it's very important that people would raise their voices against these kind of narratives and these kind of biased journalism when it comes across. And for that we need to study more, read more. The major problem with us is that I mean the normal general people, common people, is that we don't read much. We are depending upon more things which will take less time, which will take less effort. So we need to put in more effort in reading stuff and judging, because I believe that any kind of media that we have right now is dependent upon various kind of thought processes. So even if we think about the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these are American based, right? So it is very easy for them to manipulate us with that. And if we suppose in case of Ukraine war, which is going on right now, we do not know what is the version of Russia. unless we go to Russian television channels and see that. But
channels.
even that is narrative based, right? So we have to think about both of the sides and then decide for ourselves what is going on. And we won't be able to do that if we don't read.
True. And Tulip, I live in Delhi and you live in Bhubaneswar. The narrative in Delhi is that, media freedom is in serious danger in recent
Yeah.
times. And of course, the blame often goes to the union government for various reasons.
Hmm.
But as someone who lives in a regional capital and has been following what's happening in West Bengal, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, etc., do you think the media freedom problem is confined just to the union government, or it's a serious issue even in the state governments?
No, no, sir. It's definitely it's all pervasive. It's there in states, and we have seen so many examples of that. The way West Bengal government reacted when a cartoon was published on their stream, then the way the Maharashtra government reacted when Arnab Goswami apparently threw some insult at their CM. So, and there are some cases here as well when the OTV, this is OTV is a television channel here in Odisha. Their journalist was arrested because the owners are belonging to another party. So there is a political rivalry which goes on, and that also affects the. So this is a very all-pervasive event which is going on, and I believe that people should question this without any fear because we are depending upon media. Media is a very powerful tool, and if we do not get it out of the grasp of these political parties and their influence, then it's going to be very difficult to find out the truth. And I believe that truth is something which all should seek.
And Tulip, as a student and scholar of law, uh, the sorry state of Indian judiciary. By
Yes,
end of this year, we will have possibly 5 crore cases pending by end of this year.
yes, sir, yes.
Are you satisfied with the kind of reporting, analysis, research, and comment that you see in Indian media on judiciary as a legal
Not at
scholar?
all, actually, sir. Because when it comes to the articles or the news pieces which the media churns out related to law, the field of law, they try to turn their newsrooms, these news debates that we see, they try to turn their newsrooms into some kind of a court, at a quasi judicial body, they think, or what I do not understand, but well, they turn it into a court sort of thing and they start vilifying the people who are involved in certain cases. Now we have many legislations related to this, many precedents which have been issued by the apex court that the people who are involved in certain cases, which is under judicial understanding, it cannot be discussed in any other media or form. But they keep on doing these things because it's something sensational. So unless we stop depending on sensationalism, we won't be able to stop this. So there are some articles, some media pieces, some articles which I have read, which are a tad bit better when it comes to legal aspects of certain cases. But mostly it's dependent upon the one kind of black and white kind of narrative which they depend upon. And that's the reason why it becomes really difficult. So there are certain legal provisions to protect the people who are working in media. We know that we have Article 19, which specifically provides us freedom of speech, and well, that is one thing which needs to be protected very well in any democracy if you want it to work. So, and there are specific legislations as well, which are related to freedom of press and all that. But when media houses are going ahead with some kind of discussion, they should also think about what kind of effect they are providing on the people, because people are consuming these sensational news items in a huge
Day in
manner.
and day out, by the hour,
Yes,
in
day in
fact,
and day out.
in
Yeah.
WhatsApp, in Facebook, everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah. So that has
So
to be
one
addressed.
last, so one
Yes,
last
sir.
question, Tulip.
Yes.
As a young Indian, do you think India is going in the right direction? And if so, why?
Sir, yes, sir. India is going in the right direction, I would say, because we are right now. There are many cons which are related to social media. but there are some pros as well. And one of the benefits of social media is that people are discussing things more. There are podcasts, there are research discussions, there are so many Zoom webinars going on, which is helping us to understand things more. So I think that is one way in which we are going right. In the when it comes to the authorities, we have to see that whether they are protecting the people who are bringing the truth out or not. And in that manner, I don't think it's very good right now. The situation is not that good. So for that, we need to have more discussions regarding that. And there are some things which they can do, which they can provide some kind of legislation which can protect people who are bringing out the truth, who are exposing the people who are committing crimes and who are causing corruption activities, and that can be done. On the paper, especially, we are good. It's not that we do not have legislation or laws, but the implementation is not very good. So that has to be worked on.
So true, Tulip. And thank you
Thank
so much. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope we have more of such conversations again in the
you. Sure, sir.
future.
Thank you for
Thank you
inviting me.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tulip. Thank you.